Hi, I just watched The Matrix Resurrections, the movie that I was so hyped for in this year, and I left the theater with such a mixed feeling because it's not a very good movie, and the biggest problem is the technical aspects of the film. So I think the cinematography is very generic, which is like when you watch the original trilogy, you kind of um, got used to very exciting visuals. Um, you didn't get it from this one, and it's kind of killed your hype and your joy in the theater. And then the fight choreography is very generic. Many scenes feel like something from low budget action movie, and I at least expect over the top action scene from this one Resurrections. I prayed at least this one had very good fight scene, and that's it, that will be fine. But no. So I'm disappointed. But the most disappointing thing for me is the soundtrack, because it's 10 miles below what Don David did with the original trilogy, and it, for me, it ruined almost the entire experience of watching the film. The script is not very well constructed. Several scenes in The Matrix Resurrection are very expository, and I feel very bummed by many dialogues, and that's not very good. But the thing is, the movie is very personal to someone who grew up watching The Matrix and talking about philosophies, politics, and religious aspects from the first three. And this one is also very personal to Lana. So I followed the production of the film for a while, and I didn't understand why it is what it is, because Lana Wachowski, who directed this film, she said that she didn't want to go back to the atmosphere of the first three films because it's mentally draining, and it negatively affected her cast and crew. And when she decided to return, want she wanted this film to be her coping mechanism for the loss of her parents, and that's why she want the production to be chilled and relaxed all the time. She wanted to feed positive energy from the cast and the crew, and I think that explained why the quality is not so high, because they didn't put all of their energies into the filmmaking, but it's more like the reunion of like everyone that Lana wanted to see again and someone she wanted to work with. So it's very personal, and I think that's why the end result, the final product, the movie is very light-hearted. The feelings is very different from the first three films, and uh, it's kind of heartwarming for people like me who like we talked about this systematic oppressions that was represented in the first three films, but when you grow up you kind of trapped in this inescapable system of control, and we kind of wonder how are we going to make peace with this idea. And that's why this movie exists, because it tried to reconcile with its own legacy, like what the Matrix trilogy has done to the pop culture, and it become less and less important. Like it's the philosophical discussion and discourse of the first film or the second film or the third film become like very casual. It's not very important anymore, because in the real world we couldn't escape the usage of technologies and everything. We kind of live in this semi virtual reality all the time, and we couldn't escape the cycle of capitalism. And that's why this one mainly focus on love and inspiration, and it kind of parodies its own things, and you can see why it becomes very very meta, because Lana want to deconstruct all the film that came before this one and create something else that feel very comforting for her, and also people who grow up with the original film and try to understand the nature of society by dissecting everything in the film, and then it turned out it's not important. What is really important is love that we have for like other human beings or the movie franchise that we love, and that's very lovely messages to send to audience, and I kind of appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's not a very good movie, because the filmmaking is very below the par, the standard that was set by its predecessor. But if you liked all the films, like all three films, despite how flawed they are, I think you're going to enjoy this one too, because there are many things to talk about. Like this one is very queer, like all of the character they are queer coded, and it's very understandable because Lana Wachowski came out as a bisexual trans woman. I think maybe she's I don't know, she's transsexual. Sorry about that. I didn't remember her sexual identity precisely, but she's a trans woman, and that's why there is queer subtext everywhere. And there is also this thing, the idea of non-binary, which is not exclusive to only the idea of sexual gender identity or sexuality, but also in the politics. Like in this film, human and machines, they have made alliance, and the idea of us versus them is become less and less in this movie, and is something that we can spend time and talk about in the future. But right now I don't have a very clear memory what I'm going to talk about, so I'm going to summarize that if you are the film if you are the fan of the first three films, go see it. But if you only like the first one, don't see it, and prepare yourself for some disappointment, because you're not gonna get the stunning visuals from this one. You're not gonna get excited because the fighting scene. You're not gonna get very good feelings from this one, except when you realize that what it trying to what is trying to communicate with you.